Hi, my name is Christian, and today I'll be going over my deferred rendering implementation for the final. So what this does is it creates three separate textures to render to, similar to what Lab 11 did, and except instead of rendering just a full-on scene to one buffer, we render parts of the scene to each buffer, and then we can combine them after we're all done to make sure that the expensive operation of combining for lighting only happens to visible texels on the screen. So in this case, I have the normal buffer in the top left, and the diffuse buffer in the top right, and the position buffer in the bottom right. And all of those, the position and the normal buffer are both in world space, because once you get to actually combining things, you actually lose the context of model space or a specific face's tangent space. So they have to be in world space. And then sort of once you get to the final image, you can see that everything comes together really nicely. And going into a couple of the key changes I had to make. One was we can't do the lighting in tangent space for the normal map because we don't have any idea which face the texel we're currently trying to work on came from. So we have to do everything in world space. So it was a little change to instead of converting all of the other lighting variables into tangent space, we just convert the normal out of tangent space into world space. And so that's what constructing the TBN like this does, and then in the fragment shader just multiplying through accomplishes that. And then sort of the next interesting part would probably be just actually how simple it is to split up the screen and render each individual texture to a separate region. It really just requires this logic to say, okay, if we're in the top left corner, let's do a quarter size render, and we'll double our current texture coordinate and look up whatever buffer we're looking at, in this case the normal. And then it's really easy in the shader to accomplish that. And that's the interesting part to me, is that the shader can do all this programmatically. And then sort of the other interesting is that it's all in world space because we lose all the context of the model and the tangent. Yeah. And then so just to briefly go over the setup, it's pretty simple. We just create these textures and hook them up to our frame buffer, and same thing for the normal and the color. And then we can just go ahead and make sure depth is turned on, and then here we can tell the frame buffer shader that it's going to be able to find the position and the normal and the diffuse where it can find them. And that's really all there is for setup on the C++ side, which is the coolest part to me, at least. Yeah, I think that's really all I've got.